Hello, and welcome to the podcast, The Shift Happens with Dr. Divi. And thank you so much for being here. I'm excited, I'm blessed, I'm honored that you're spending time with me. So today we're going to work on money. We're going to talk about spirituality and money. A lot of us think of spirituality in one category and money in a different category. And today we're going to actually bring them together. And we're hopefully going to help you unpack your fears around money, help you to learn some really specific tools and techniques to allow more money in, and to hopefully heal some of your belief systems that may be keeping you in lack consciousness. So welcome. Whenever I do these podcasts, I try to tell you a little bit about me and what's going on in my world. You may know I'm a family doctor turned intuitive coach turned spiritual teacher. I help thousands of people around the world help with any other issues, relationships, health, money, you name it, I've done it. And I had such a busy business that I moved more into exclusive spiritual teaching and have shifted some of my offerings. So I would love to share some of them with you. One of them is I teach something called group coaching. So much lower price point than working one-to-one. I only work with a handful of one-to-one, and I'm currently full doing that. For my group coaching, we get together 10 people, and we pick a topic. And over 3 or 4 months, I start to teach you the tools, as well as coach using intuition. So I've got 2 spots left, my Friday spot from 10 to 1 Pacific time. Then in the fall, I'll be actually opening a second group on Tuesdays at 5. But I'm actually going to split them into 2 different categories. Tuesdays at 5 will be about relationships and health, and Fridays will be about entrepreneurship. So if one of those are of interest of you, check me out. The other thing I've got going on is in September, I'm offering a Divine Mother class. I would love to have you. That's great to learn. When you learn to work with the Divine Mother, you heal so many areas of your life, from health to relationships to money. So I'm excited you're here, and thank you. And let's just dive in and get going. So today we're going to be talking about money and spirituality. And as much as we think spiritual as in the ethereal world and money as the worldly world, it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, in my world, as you'll start to hear some of my perspectives, there's nothing more spiritual than money. Money is a spiritual thing. So we put a lot of thoughts and beliefs around money about the worldly, and thereby we have lack. When you start to understand the spiritual concepts around money, you can allow in more abundance. And in the work we're going to do today, a lot of the work I do around money is based on A Course in Miracles, John Randolph Price's work around abundance, and me helping hundreds and thousands of clients on their money conversation. So if I can do it with them, I'm excited to do it with you and share it with you. Because the truth is, money is not our problem. Our beliefs about them are. The thing it does in our nervous system is the issue. It's not money itself. Money is not the problem. It's our beliefs and thoughts. So first thing we're going to talk about is the fact, is money spiritual or not? Money is not unspiritual. It's a big elephant in the room. We have consciously or subconsciously this thought that money is bad. I grew up in a very devout Hindu family, and it was really thought that money was the source of all evil. It was thought that those rich people over there who can afford those big fancy homes and those big fancy cars, they're bad. And these people who are more middle class or lower class, they're good. So we put all these, beliefs and thoughts around people based on what's in their bank account. When you study A Course in Miracles, you begin to learn that everything is inherently neutral other than the meaning you put on it. So, a kid, for example, a baby, does not necessarily know this is a water bottle until the first time they take a sip and go, oh, there's water in there. So everything is inherently neutral. And then we put meaning on everything because you may have heard that expression, we are meaning-making machines. And the ego loves to do that, loves to put meaning on everything. Money is a symbol, and it can be used for fear or love. And chances are, if you're listening to this podcast and want some healing, you have some fear-based things around money. John Randolph Price is one of my favorite authors around money. He has a really great book called The Abundance Book that I'll be quoting from in a few minutes here. John Randolph Price says, abundance is a state of mind. He teaches us that money is not your source. Your job is not your source. Your husband or wife is not your source. But your connection to God, love, spirit, source is your source. And we try to manifest from the ego. I need $10,000. I need to make this money for my kids' braces. I need to do this. We're manifesting from lack. And the ego loves lack because the ego insists that lack exists. When you align with source, if you think of nature, if you think of how much hair I have, we're actually knowing the truth that when we're connected to source, we're connected to the place of infinite supply. And that infinite supply is the conduit for abundance and flow. Money is not your supply. Your husband or wife is not your supply. Your bank account's not your supply. And it takes us a while to unpack that because I used to think for a long time being a doctor was my supply, right? And I've shifted businesses 3 times. I used to think clients were my supply. What I'm starting to realize is spirit gives me the intuitive nudge as to what I offer. Then when I sit in vibration with spirit, then spirit will fill those offerings. That's how I think about it. So that alignment to source is a minute-to-minute thing. Because source doesn't just give us money. It gives us peace. It gives us ideas. It gives us support. It brings synchronicities. It brings miracles. Those conversations you have at a grocery store with somebody you don't know, and that first person becomes your friend, and then they become your business partner. How does that happen? It's all source. And that alignment to source is really a moment-to-moment thing. Because all of us have a neural pathway, myself included. As I got to struggle. I have to work. I have to push hard. I have to make things happen. That's the push, 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 push. Then we study the law of attraction. Abraham Hicks teaches us, joy is the key. Joy. Joy? Weird, eh? How are those two connected? When you connect to the divine nature of who you are, and you start to rewire your mind when you study stuff about the Divine Mother, of course, miracles, you start to shift from fear to love. And then peace becomes your more often energy. Once you find peace, then you can find the emotion of maybe a bit of joy, a bit of gratitude, a bit of love. That's the energy where I'm not pushing, I'm not hunting, I'm not working really hard. I'm in the true energy of spirit that is my supply. And again, it's a moment-to-moment thing, and I have to redirect my thoughts there. So I'm going to take you through some practical tools that I do every day. I sit quietly and I look at nature. I feel the abundance of the trees right outside of my window. I feel gratitude that I have the ability to see the trees. I feel gratitude that I have people who listen to my podcast. I have gratitude that I was able to create businesses after I left medicine. Like, what the heck? Who does that? And the more I think about these things, the more abundance comes to me. So abundance is a state of mind, a state of connecting to spirit, connecting to the unlimited energy that is God, that is our creator. It's everywhere. So another practical thing I do is when I'm out for a walk to the beach, I look around, I'm like, what can I see that's abundant? Oh, there's a coffee cup. Oh, there's lots of coffee cups. Oh, there's lots of people. Look all the skin on all those people. Wow. Look at all the eyebrows. Look at all the hair follicles. Yeah, you sound crazy, Debbie. But I could go on the walk to the beach and get into my brain, let the ego run the show and scream lack at me. Or I can train my mind to see the abundance that is everywhere. Train my mind to see the abundance that is my natural birthright. Train my mind to see the abundance that is the truth of who I am. And just so y'all know, this is actually how I create my business. The how. So I'd spend more time in this quiet place looking for abundance rather than lack. And the more I did that, the more things just came my way. So let's talk about another thing around money. Let's talk about our inner beliefs around money and our inner beliefs around people that have money and don't have money. So one inner belief that we have around money, a lot of them come from childhood and the stuff our parents said to us. So maybe like me, you were told money doesn't grow on trees, Divvy. Maybe your parents fought about money. Maybe you're always taught to like, oh God, it's great, save for a rainy day. You can see those thoughts and beliefs, they're like tape recorders in the background of our mind. Unless we bring them to light, they're just going to stay there and run the show. So if you always think lack, then lack will be your experience. But one of the key principles from A Course in Miracles is the energy of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not saying, Dad, what you did to me was okay when you hit me. Forgiveness, from the Course's definition and a spiritual definition, is returning to who I am in truth. I was born of love. I am of love. I was born with innate abundance. Abundance is my birthright. And from that energy, I can forgive thoughts of lack. And we'll do some forgiveness work in a few minutes here. But first, we need to identify the thoughts that keep us in lack and keep us in unworthiness. Let me go through a few other thoughts and beliefs before I teach forgiveness. So another way, besides just the things we're taught, is what we also think about when we see people with money. One of the things my parents did a lot of, and probably I do too, is when I see somebody with money, consciously or unconsciously, I put them on a pedestal. Why? They just have more bills in their account. So, but I'm putting meaning on it. But when I put meaning on that, it means I have less, so I must be less than. See how subtle that was? We do it as well when we see somebody as less than, and then also think that they're less than, then we're putting ourselves on a pedestal. But if money comes from spirit, both these things pinch off my abundance. I could make this podcast 10 hours long and keep teaching, but a couple other things that keep that unworthiness wound alive, or like that person's better, I'm not as good, is this idea that money, if I have money, then I'm worthy. Huh? Really? If we believe that abundance comes from spirit, love, God, how am I worthy or not worthy? Another couple of tripping points. A lot of people believe that money creates safety. I know a lot of very rich people who are as scared about money as anybody. Where's it going to invest? What if that investment busts? Oh my God, I need a thicker fence, right? Safety. Somebody's going to steal from me. We also think money gives people power. What's the most powerful thing we have? Our connection to the divine, our connection to our God force, our connection to our creator, our connection to inner peace. People also think money means love. I know a lot of rich people who are very lonely. Money does not equal love. So how does forgiveness come in here? When you identify these thoughts and beliefs that are running your show, then it's time to forgive them. And we'll make it really simple. You can close your eyes if you can, or do this when you have a minute, rewind and go back here. With your eyes closed, imagine that you're sitting in a beautiful place in nature. And imagine an altar is sitting there where spirit sits. Spirit's job is to do the forgiveness. So you simply walk over there and put down on the altar this thought: they're better because they're rich. Forgiveness set me and everyone free from that. Forgiveness set me free from this. I am done with it. And that's all you have to do. You have to be willing to give that thought up and remind myself of the love of my being. All right, I want to teach just a couple other things before I wrap this podcast, because like I said, I could talk for 10 hours about money and spirituality. So one of the biggest things that creates more money for us is gratitude. I was teaching in one of my classes earlier today about how so many of us have blocked heart chakras. The heart energy is the energy that takes us from the lower base chakras of first, second, third, survival mode, empowerment. The heart takes us up to our upper chakras. The upper chakras talk about our intuitive, our psychic capabilities. And when the heart chakra is closed, we can't allow beautiful things in. It's hard to have gratitude. It's impossible to manifest. Because when our heart is blocked, we have lots of reasons for it being blocked. We might be afraid of love. We might have been hurt in the past. We don't trust love. We hold a resentment. Any blocked energy in the heart makes manifestation kind of sticky, right? So when we can heal our stories, we release the stories that are blocking our heart. We can open to gratitude, and then more can come our way, because the heart is the energy that magnetizes to us those desires we have. The last things I want to share around abundance, 2 quick things. One is tithing. So, you can formally set up a bank account where you give $100, $200 to, food donation or some sort of industry, or you can see somebody out and about and go, trust your intuition. My guides are saying to give them $20. When you trust tithing, money, when I give money, I'm not losing money. And that's kind of a thing that the ego says. If you're going to give them $20, you're going to be $20 less. In fact, the opposite is true. If I give them $20, the universe gives me 40 or 60 or 100. That's just how it works. It's crazy, right? Totally crazy. Okay, last thing. Like I was saying in the first section, I want you to recognize that spirit is in charge. And this is where a lot of the quotes from John Randolph Price are super powerful. He wrote this book called The Abundance Book, which I highly recommend. And he talks all about different mantras for abundance. And I use these almost every day. So I want you to close your eyes, and I'll say 1 or 2 of them right now. He starts off by telling us God. And if the word God is, ooh, you can shift it to the Creator or the Divine Mother. So he teaches God is lavish, unfailing abundance. She is the rich, omnipresent substance of the universe. Oh, lots of words, right? This all-providing source of infinite prosperity, goes from here to the moon and back a million times, is me, the truth of me. Take that in. Feel free to hit rewind and listen to that a few times. It's very powerful. I'll give you one more. I am conscious of the inner presence as my lavish abundance. That's what it starts off at. So I'm aware that this inner presence, my God self, is my abundance, lavish abundance. I am conscious of the infinite power of this energy inside. Let me go back and repeat the whole quote. I am conscious of the inner presence as my lavish abundance. I am conscious of the constant activity of this mind of infinite prosperity. I am conscious of the mind of infinite prosperity. Therefore, my consciousness is filled with truth. Take that in. What would happen if you believed that? If you believed that spirit was constantly trying to send you money, could you make money when you're asleep? Yes. Spirit is constantly, because money is an effect, the cause is mind. Like I said, I could teach 20 hours of this. So if you want to hear more about money and spirituality, just send me a message, let me know. Happy to do more of these. And probably in the next podcast, we'll be talking a little bit more about the body, another favorite area that I love to talk about. But I hope this helped. And let's take a breath and close our eyes and just, wow, maybe the Creator provides. Maybe my whole job is to forgive the ego thought system of lack, right? Beautiful. Thank you again for joining me. And if you want to hang out with me in some group coaching, a little bit more intimate, check out my website, drdivi.com. And I'd be honored and blessed if you join me for the Divine Mother class in September. Even be more honored and blessed, and so much gratitude for you if you could share this with another human who may or may not be struggling. Sending you so much love, and I hope you have the best day ever.